And we are in line 12b of Psalm 78. So it says in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zon. And so that sends us to Numbers 13:22. That says, and they went up through the south and came to Hebron, Ahiman, Sheshai, and Telamah. The descendants of Anak were there. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zon in Egypt. Okay. And so now we got that. And then so line 13. So it says he divided the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the water stand up like a heap. And so that sends us to Exodus 14:21. That says, then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land in the waters. So that was 14:21. Let's look at 15:8. That says, and with the blast of your nostrils, the waters were gathered together. The flood stood upright like a heap, and the depths congealed in the heart of the sea. And so that's that one for 15:8. So line 14. In the daytime also he led them with the cloud. And so that sends us to Exodus 13:21. And the Lord went before them by day of a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. So let me read that again. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. And so he used a cloud for both day and night. That's the power and wonders of God. And then so and then line 14, it says, in the daytime also he led them with the cloud. Well, I read that already. And at the night with the light. Okay, so did I read that reference scripture? Yeah, 13:21. Anyway, so 15, line 15. He split the rocks in the wilderness and gave them drink in abundance like the depths. He also brought streams out of the rock and caused waters to run down like rivers. So he split the rocks in the wilderness. So that sends us to Numbers 20:11. See how we stand in Numbers and Exodus. That says that Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals drank. And so he wasn't supposed to strike the rock that time. God had wanted him to speak to the rock. You know, but that's what happens when you're dealing with rebellious people. They cause you to sin. And then he couldn't go to the promised land because of dealing with them people. So it says in 16, he also brought streams out of the rock and caused waters to run down like rivers. So that sends us back to Numbers 20, and then they want us to do 8, 10, and pick up 11 again. So we're just going to read 8 and 10. That says, take the rod, you and your brother Aaron, gather the assembly together, speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Thus you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their animals. So that's 8. And so now they also want us to cover 10 and 11. That says, and Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and said to them, hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock? Okay. And then let's be ready for out of this rock. Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals drank. All right. Now, over. So let's pause here, and we pick it up in line 17.